You know, I could have done this review shirtless, considering it's 1,000 degrees in this room. But I like to be professional, and Triptychon is an awesome band, so, well, there you go. We need to talk about Veil of Maya, specifically their new album here in 2015, Matriarch. We need to speak about this for a couple of different reasons. First of all, we spoke about Eclipse whenever it came out a couple of years ago, and it was an enjoyable enough album. And we have to speak about it because this is a record that a lot of people are going into with a little bit of fear or apprehension, or it's kind of that fear of the unknown, which you would think would be present for any album, for any individual, you know, or any band, considering any band or any individual could just decide to go out in the left field and try something completely brand new. But this is based off of Mikasa, which is the song that was posted a little bit earlier this year. It's definitely given a bit of a dividing line right there between fans and heavy music fans alike, where some people are concerned about the record based around that song, while others are saying, you know, it's not all that bad. Well, we get to Matriarch, and we first notice that this is 8 minutes longer than their previous effort. The previous effort, Eclipse, was 28 minutes in length, and this one clocks in at a hearty 36 minutes. If there's one thing I do like about Veil of Maya is that they don't overstay their welcome. This is not a band that's trying to be too overly ambitious with their work. This is a band that's largely attributed as deathcore, although I really think that you'd have to put like djentcore in there if you wanted to, because there's a little bit of progressive nature in there. There's a lot of djent, a very heavy assortment of djent in there, and then of course deathcore is present. In fact, Veil of Maya would probably be on a list of top 5 deathcore bands in my opinion, if I were to ever make that list. Not that that would mean too much to too many deathcore fans, considering how I've scorned the subgenre in the past. But Matriarch is an album that has attracted this attention, has attracted this kind of polarizing view. And whenever you start to listen to it, whenever you get into New and to Lilu, the first 2 tracks on the album, I couldn't make these titles up if I tried. You start to kind of understand where some of the apprehension comes in. You remember at its core that Veil of Maya is a deathcore band. You're reminded that they are a band that's using some pretty simplistic ideas in order to convey their musical message, and it's something where they have the talent in order to really go outside of that horizon, but they still, you know, sort of stick with something that's very basic. And these first couple of tracks really don't showcase a lot in the way of diversity lyrically. This is not something where you're going to expect anything all of that creatively different comparative to what they have spoken about in the past. This is Veil of Maya's kind of trademark playbook, and also it seems I can understand why so many white males in their early 20s these days are really, really angry and upset. Because you listen to stuff like this, and yeah, it's going to make you angry and upset, and a terrible individual who wants to beat his girlfriend. I'm not naming names. But at any rate, once you get to Eris, which is the 6th track on this album, which is directly after the single, then you start to realize that this is a group that still knows how to write some fairly decent work. Eris is a very well put together track at a little bit under 4 minutes in length. Whether or not this is a reference to the Final Fantasy character is really, it's neither here nor there. This is just a very well put together song. Definitely the first real highlight on this album, at least for me. I love the way in which this track was constructed. I feel that it really punctuated a lot of Veil of Maya's strengths as opposed to really harping on their weaknesses. It's funny because on Eclipse we neglected to mention the song Punisher, which included a couple second clip of a YouTuber that was making fun of Periphery based around the djent sound, and then it's sort of funny that the djent side of Veil of Maya is the side that is really a lot more pleasing on the ear, considering it opens the door for a little bit more creativity than the deathcore side really does. Whenever that side comes out, the album turns very bland in a hurry, and it's not something where I just have such a bane or disdain for deathcore. It's just that the deathcore that is presented during these moments is very unremarkable. It's not something that has a lot of creativity or anything new to the fold to it. In fact, deathcore as a whole really hasn't had very much new to the fold, which is the reason why I'm surprised this is a subgenre that still exists and still has a lot of fans. I still will not get that to this day. Whenever we get to the second half of this album, though, the album actually starts to open up a little bit. It's almost like a tale of two records, where the first half has a lot of the more disdainable traits of Veil of Maya ever present, whereas the second half of this record really shows that the band has a lot of creative ambition. Lisbeth, in particular, as a final track, is a very well put together finale that has great clean vocals actually attached with it. I have to say, even if some people criticize the clean vocals for reminding them a little bit too much of either modern metal or of modern like pop punk or the emo scene or whatever, regardless to whether or not they attribute that to attribute these clean vocals to those subgenres or those styles of music, these are still vocals that work very well with the track. It's something that works very well with the song, so you really can't harp too hard on that whenever it makes perfect sense. As far as the remainder of the track is concerned, it's just well constructed, even though it is kind of a basic pattern of construction. But it's solid enough where it's a tolerable finale, and it's one that kind of closes the album out on a high note. All in all, this album just feels a little bit jilted. It feels a bit inconsistent. This is a disc that definitely feels as though they definitely went for something on this and just didn't hit the mark. Instead, it seemed as though they wrote kind of a clusterfuck of an album that didn't have much in the way of direction. It tried its best and really at times shined through the band's more positive attributes, but always seemed to go back to the basic patterns of djent and the simplistic notions of the deathcore side of their sound in order to really kind of get them out of trouble whenever they weren't sure where to go next with a track, or if it seemed like that was the only logical place to go. Maybe I just don't understand deathcore. Maybe that's the problem here. Maybe the reason that I don't get it or I don't like it is because I don't get it, and because I don't understand writing it. I know how to count higher than one. I don't know. Whatever it may be, that's just the case. This is an album that, like I said, it's better than some of the other stuff that you're going to hear out there out of this department. It's definitely going to be one that's going to have a lot more to offer creatively than, say, an Attila record, just to kind of throw out a name. But this is an album that I probably would give I'm just going to go basic with a 7 out of 10 or a 70 out of 10. Like I said, it holds its own enough where it's competent, and it has enough enjoyable moments on there where it's going to really be enjoyable to a lot of fans, and it's probably going to bring in a couple of new ones. But overall, as a body of work, this is still one that feels a little bit too discombobulated for it to be solid. What did you guys think about this album? What did you guys think about Matriarch by Veil of Maya? Let me know in the comments below if you want to talk more music and recommend other albums for me to review or other top 10 lists for me to create, such as the top 5 deathcore bands I actually like. If you want that, put underneath of your comment in the comment box below top 5 deathcore bands. You should definitely subscribe, and you should hop over to the Facebook page. The link to get over to the Facebook page is the first thing that you're going to see in the description box below. A lot of things are influenced by what happens over there, so you definitely want to be a part of it. I'm coverkillernation. I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know what you guys thought about Matriarch in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, where I think we're going to do something a little bit different. I don't think it's going to be an album review tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. See ya.